Olivia stood by the window, staring at the gray sky covered with clouds. Raindrops drummed against the glass as if trying to reach her soul. She held a white envelope in her hands, a notice of termination. 3 years of work, hundreds of sleepless nights, projects she had carried on her own. All of it ended with one cold phrase about staff optimization. She slowly turned and looked at the clock. 6 in the evening. Victor would be home soon, followed by his mother, Victoria, who had been living with them temporarily for the past 6 months, so to speak. But this temporary state was clearly dragging on. Olivia clenched the envelope in her hand and took a deep breath. She needed to tell everything. The key turned in the lock at exactly 7. Victor came in first, followed by his mother. Without even saying hello, he immediately snapped, "So, is dinner ready? Or did you forget again that you have a family?" Olivia went to the kitchen and silently set the plates on the table. His mother had already made herself comfortable on the sofa, sprawling as if it were her personal throne. "Vinny, sit down. You must be tired after work." She could not let him try. Olivia didn't respond. She was used to these jabs. After 4 years of marriage, she had learned to let most of Victoria's words slide off her. But today felt different. They ate in oppressive silence. Victor scrolled through his phone. His mother chewed loudly while recounting some story about a neighbor. Olivia sat staring into her plate, summoning her courage. "I need to tell you something," she finally said. Victor tore his eyes away from the screen and looked at her irritably. "What now?" "I got fired today." Silence fell. 1 second, 2, 3. "And then what?" Victor roared, jumping up from his chair. "You got fired. How could that be?" "Staff reduction." "I couldn't do anything." "What do you mean you couldn't do anything?" "Of course, because you're nothing. A 0. Victoria flailed her hands. "Oh, Vinny, that's wonderful. Now she'll be free all day. Finally, she'll do some good work around the house." Victor paced the room. "Really? Mom, are you right?" "All right, here's the deal. If she got fired, tomorrow she'll go to her parents' house to scrub toilets. Your mom has been complaining for ages that the renovation isn't done. You'll clean, paint, wash. You'll find your purpose." Victoria almost clapped her hands. "Vinny, look, what luck. Now she'll actually do something useful, instead of just spending money buying shoes." Collecting cosmetics with her own earnings, Olivia whispered quietly. What Victor exploded. "Your earnings. You lived in my apartment, ate my food, used my everything." Olivia looked at him, at this man she had married 5 years ago. He had been different back then. Or perhaps she had been blind, probably the latter. "Anyway, be ready by tomorrow morning," Victor said coldly. "You need to be ready by 8. Mom will give you the list of what to do." Victoria was already scribbling something in her notebook. Olivia silently stood, cleared the dishes, and went to the bedroom. She laid down on the bed without undressing and closed her eyes. Victor and his mother continued discussing her new duties in the living room, laughing, making plans. While Olivia lay there thinking, she thought about how she ended up here, how a confident young woman had turned into a powerless servant, how her dreams of family, partnership, and love had crashed into a reality where she was only free labor. She thought of her mother, who had warned her, "Olivia, take a closer look at this man. There's something about him I don't like." But she hadn't listened back then. She fell in love. Or rather, fell in love with an illusion. That night, she couldn't sleep, listening to her mother-in-law snore in the next room, listening to Victor move around. When dawn broke, she quietly got up, packed a small bag with documents and essentials, and silently left the apartment. She didn't even leave a note. There was no point. Victor woke up at 10, stretched, yawned, and suddenly remembered where the lazy woman should be. She should have been ready by now. Olivia. He yelled, "Where are you?" Silence in response. He jumped out of bed and went to the kitchen. Empty. Checked the bathroom. No one there. "Mom," he called. "Where is she?" Victoria came out of the room, wrapped in her robe. "What happened, son?" "Olivia's gone." "What do you mean gone?" "Maybe she went to the store." Victor went to the bedroom, flung open the closet. Some of her things were gone, and he felt a strange unease. "Mom, she's gone, I think." "What do you mean gone? Where? How should I know?" They began searching the apartment. No notes, no trace. Victor grabbed his phone, but her number didn't answer. "Let her go." His mother snorted. "She ran away. Fine. She'll cry a bit and come back." But Victor doubted it. Something was wrong. Olivia never rebelled. She always endured. And now she was gone. The doorbell rang, interrupting his thoughts. Victor swung the door open, ready to raise a scandal if it was Olivia. But two unfamiliar men stood there, wearing formal suits. One held a tablet, the other a folder with documents. "Victor Gromov?" asked one. "Yes, that's me. And you are?" "We are court bailiffs. Here's a summons for you." Victor took the envelope, trembling hands opening it. The first lines made him pale. "A divorce petition filed by the plaintiff Gromova Olivia. Also attached is a petition for division of property." Victor turned the page. What he read next made him stagger. A claim for moral damages of 3 million rubles for systematic psychological abuse in the family, supported by video recordings, neighbor testimonies, and medical documents. Next was a long list. Apartment division. Olivia had invested her own money in it when buying. She had proof, along with a claim to return personal funds spent on his mother's upkeep. Compensation for unpaid domestic labor. "This is impossible." "Nonsense," Victor muttered. "You must appear in court on the 7th at 10 a.m., said the bailiff. "Also, your property is under seizure until the court decision. Everything is detailed in the documents. Sign here." Victor signed mechanically. The men left. Victoria snatched the papers. "What is this? What does she think she's doing? How dare she, Mom?" Victor sank to the floor in the hallway, unable to breathe. It said, "Recordings of our conversations." She recorded everything. Neighbor testimonies of how you yelled at her in the stairwell. And here's a psychologist's report. "Mom, she planned everything." Victoria clutched her heart. "Vitanka, what will we do?" Victor sat on the floor, staring blankly. Yesterday, he had rejoiced, thinking he had finally fully subdued his wife, turned her into a servant. Today, he had lost everything. His phone vibrated. A message appeared. "Victor, I tolerated for 4 years, hoped you'd change. But last night proved there's nothing to hope for. I am not your servant or your mother's. I am a person, and I finally remembered that. What happens now is the consequence of your own choices. You wanted to humiliate me completely. Congratulations. You got the opposite result. Do not try to find me. See you in court. And one more thing. That apartment you live in, check the documents carefully. It's always been half mine. You just never bothered to read the purchase agreement. Goodbye." Victor dropped his phone, hands shaking. "Vityusha, what is it?" He didn't answer his mother. He remembered that day, 5 years ago, when they bought the apartment. Olivia insisted on paying part herself. He waved it off. "Fine, if it matters to you." He didn't even read the documents carefully, assuming it didn't matter. The apartment would still be his. Victoria grabbed his phone, read the message, and screamed. "She's crazy. She has no right. We'll go to the police. sue her. But Victor understood. It was too late. Olivia held all the cards. She hadn't left in despair, nor in tears. She left with cold calculation, prepared, armed with evidence. He remembered her face last night, silently listening to their mockery, and thought it was submission. But it was a farewell. For the first time in years, he cried, not out of pity for himself. He didn't understand what he felt, but from realizing he had destroyed the only real thing he ever had. Outside, rain continued to fall. Somewhere in the city, Olivia was starting a new life. Without him, without his mother, free. 2 months later, the court issued a ruling. The apartment was divided. Victor paid compensation to Victoria. He had to move out, and Olivia started a new job, even better than the previous one. She rented a small apartment, got a cat, and enrolled in painting courses she had dreamed of for years. Sometimes she remembered that evening. Tomorrow, scrub toilets at your parents' house, she smiled. If Victor knew that those words had freed her, that they had given her the last drop of strength to break the chains. She never saw Victor again, nor wanted to. She was free, and that was enough. The end.